Where was I? Number 7, Camille Claudel, excuse me, Into the Fire. This is different. This is the one movement that is not ascribed to a sculpture, and it is taken from a photograph. Oh, this photograph. 1929, Jesse Lipscomb came to visit Camille. Now, in the asylum, she had very, 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 very few, if any, visitors. Her family did not come. Rodin clearly did not come. She was abandoned. But her friend Jessie, who was a fellow sculptress in the atelier in Paris, they were very good friends when they were younger. They would sculpt side by side. Jessie went on and got married, had some children. I think they must have lost touch somehow. But Jessie came to visit Camille, and they were elderly at this point. 40 years had passed since Camille had gone into the asylum. And this photograph of the two of them sitting side by side. Camille, to my eyes, looks peaceful. She looks calm. And Jessie's face is full of torment. And Jessie has her arthritic hands on the knee of Camille. And Camille's just sitting there. And it's quite extraordinary. And what Jake and Jean did in creating this piece is they made a conversation out of it. And it's the first violin that plays Jessie. And it's like, you can hear her very chatty. And you can just feel somebody who's super uncomfortable, doesn't know what to say, and they just like, oh, so anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's the first violin. And then Camille just says, thank you for coming. Jessie responds, and then Camille says, I thought everyone had forgotten. Awkward silence. Thank you for remembering me. And then we get a little bit of this idea of the music box again, a little bit idea of the waltz. It's, Jake is bringing back things for this. And they continue, oh, 4 children, beautiful. Off to Italy, beautiful. You'll have wonderful things to eat there. And then she says, here they're trying to poison me, but I see that they don't. I cook for myself. So there's a little hint of paranoia that comes in. And then she says, thank you for remembering me. And then Camille starts to remember and lose herself a little bit. Do you remember our studio in Paris? Everything moving, 2 young women, so many ideas. Look at me now. And she starts to reflect. And she's, this text, Jean Shear is such a genius. She says, oh, Jessie, every dream I ever had was of movement, touching, breathing, reaching, hovering. And this movement you always see in her sculptures. Everything has flow and it's just everything. And then she says something always about to change. And then Jessie interrupts the first violin. A photograph. Just me and you. And she says, yes, I understand. I must be very still. So here's this woman who's just confessed, everything I wanted to do in my life was to move, to dance, to breathe, to reach, to hover. And we see that in all her sculptures. And at this moment, to capture this moment, I must be very still. And Jake brings us into this. Brings La Petite Châtelaine in. And it's a beautiful little interlude. And then she says, oh, that's completely wrong. Much better. Don't judge me, Jake. I'm not a pianist. Thank you for remembering me. And it doesn't end like that, but the violin continues, and it ends very quietly. And performing this is something else, because that final line, thank you for remembering me, for the last 100 years, 1929 is when they met in the thing. For 100 years or so, from the prime of her artistry and creating, the world just forgot about her, completely forgot about her. Locked away for 40 years doing nothing, nobody visiting her. And then just going basically into obscurity until there was a French movie. Jake saw the movie and said, I want to write about that. He said, I think it'd make a great opera. And then he realized that this song cycle is enough, because it's quite a dark, tragic place to stay for 3 hours in the night. 35 minutes feels right to tell her story. But I know very much that Jake and Jean wanted to bring her voice back into the world and to give her a voice again. And that idea of thank you for remembering me, very powerful. I suppose, if we're honest, it's what a lot of us would like at the end of our journey here, is to be remembered well. And so that is the 7th movement of Camille Claudel, Into the Fire. Again, I say in depth on these videos, it's literally just the tip of the iceberg. I could go more and more into it, which is why I think it's such a great cycle, because there is so much to find. But at the end of the day, it's her voice that I think that comes out so beautifully. So it's on Mezzo TV, Thursday, January... don't ask me. 2025, January 9th. I'll send links around or whatever. But if you are in Amsterdam, check it out. There's a wonderful video from the Chicago Art Institute where the Brentano Quartet and I performed in the exhibition, where every single one of the sculptures represented here was present. And we recorded it amongst these incredible pieces that were created by her very hands. There was no audience. It was just us. I'll give you the link. It's on YouTube. But this is also a piece to experience live, if you can. And it's a very different piece with orchestra than it is with the quartet. So what a joy to introduce this more in depth to many of you. Thank you for following along. I appreciate all your comments. And now let's do it. Maestro Papano, I am ready. Bye, guys. Thanks for following along.